What's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the Splash Sisters. I'm Hana.
And I'm Mev.
And today we're going to be talking about all NBA teams for this season, first, second, and third. And it was really hard to make this list because a lot of players did not play enough games, which is 65 games. And a lot of players did play enough games, but they just missed the cut, which is sad, but the NBA is stacked. Some players that are not eligible for this award, because they have not played enough games are the most important one is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid started the season off historic. Like, he was literally dropping amazing stats every single night, and everyone had him as the front runner. Like, it wasn't even close at that point because he was having a better season than he did last year when he won MVP.
He was putting up crazy stats, and I knew he was going to continue putting up those stats, and he would have won by a landslide. But
yeah, because especially since the MVP award right now is really close, and Jokic is the front runner, and Jokic, in my opinion, his stats aren't crazy. When Embiid was playing, he was averaging like 36 points per game, like 12 rebounds, great defense, amazing efficiency. His highest playmaking year that he's ever had. He also averaged like 6 assists. He was having an unstoppable year. And then he tore his meniscus and he got surgery. He's back now, but now he's not eligible for making a team, which is so sad because what he was doing when he was healthy was no one else was matching his stats except maybe Luka, which is crazy. But other than Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell is not eligible.
yeah, and he brought the Cavs to a season they haven't had in a long time. 3rd seed, even though he's missed so many games. And his stats were unreal also. So it's sad that he can't make a team because he would have, probably.
Yeah, he's been having a great season as well. He's honestly not that far off from the 65 games. It just sucks that he won't match it because there's only a few games left this season. Another player is Julius Randle. I know a lot of people think Julius Randle wouldn't have even made a team, but he was averaging like 25 points and 10 assists. Like, that's honestly the norm for Julius Randle. Like, he can do that every season.
I mean, he was putting up good stats, and the Knicks were winning a lot of games, so
he definitely would have had a lot of push for an All-NBA team because he made one last year, and he's been so good this season. It just sucks that he got injured because he's not coming back this season. It was a season-ending injury, his shoulder. It was really bad watching it in real life, like, because when it happened at that point, everyone was like so scared because it did not look good. And now he's not coming back this season, which sucks. But the good thing is he'll be healthy next season. The Knicks will be healthy next season. Another player is Jimmy Butler. Even though I feel like Jimmy Butler, even if he did make the 65 games, I don't think he would have made a team because everyone we did include has been better than Jimmy Butler this year.
A lot of times, a lot of other players have more outstanding looking stats than Jimmy. But, you know, it's Jimmy Butler. Everyone knows what he brings in the playoffs, but regular season is when all NBA teams are decided, not in the playoffs.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram as well. The Pelicans are doing so good this year, but he has not played 65 games, which is sad, but at the same time, he wasn't even an All-Star this year. But he's having a really underrated season and no one's talking about him. Trae Young, so underrated. He got surgery on his pinky, has not been back yet, missed a lot of games, but his stats were really attractive. Like, he drops 28 points in 10 assists in his sleep.
He even improved his efficiency. He was having a really good season, so we hate injuries.
Karl-Anthony Towns, like Lauri Markkanen, there's so many good players. Some of these players that we mentioned probably wouldn't have made it anyways, but Joel Embiid is the biggest one and missing the team. Trae Young. Next up, we have players who are eligible, but they were not going to make the team. Like, that, we think they don't deserve, like, they shouldn't make it because the other players we mentioned, the 15 other players, are just one of one. The players that are eligible but missed the cut, a lot of people are going to think this one is controversial, but Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been very good this season. The Celtics are the first seed, but like, a team accomplishment is not enough for me to put him as a top 15 player in the regular season this year. Like, am I wrong? Like, even though the Celtics are good, we all know the Celtics are good. They have multiple great players. So why would that favor Jaylen Brown to make a All-NBA team over like a couple other players we mentioned? Because he has individually not been better than a lot of players. He's on a good team, but that does not mean he deserves an All-NBA spot more.
Don't get me wrong, he is, though, having a great season. But yeah, it's just like really close between other people. So.
Next up, we have De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has been very good this season. And he should have been an all-star. He got snubbed. He definitely deserved an all-star spot. And his stats in the beginning of the season were like a lot better, where he was at like 30 points per game at like for a stretch of games. But it did climb down a little, and he did come back to earth. But there's a lot of guards. Like, even though the NBA teams are not positionless this year, he's not even like, he hasn't been a top guard or even a top 5, 6 guard this year. This is why we couldn't include him, because so much guards have been better, let alone forwards.
Yeah.
So, but he has been so good this year. We included his teammate though. We'll get to that, like, cause that's later on. This one was hard. Like, I wanted to include Zion Williamson. It's sad that no Pelicans players will get on in an All-NBA team, because the Pelicans have been really good this season and exceeded expectations. Zion has had a very solid season. He has. It's tough that he won't make it, because there has been a lot of forwards better than him, and just like bigs. Even though he's averaging great efficiency, like 23 points per game, Pelicans are really good. He led them all season. So if he does make a team, I would not be surprised at all.
Honestly, the most surprising thing is Zion playing 65 plus games this year. And I'm happy
I
that
agree.
he has. I hope this is a trend that continues. And if it does, Zion was looking like the best player in the league at one point in his career. I'm over exaggerating. But
Or his upside looked like it.
Yeah, it looked like his ceiling looked like he could be number 1 player in the league. So hopefully,
I really do think that Zion, we are like a leap from Zion is imminent. Like, it's going to happen eventually. If it's not next season, could be the season after that. But he's just been held back from injuries. But now, like Mev said, he has played enough games this year, which has been surprising. And if he can continue on to this, he's just going to start to shape-shift into the player he's supposed to be and that ceiling. And a leap is coming. Like, it's imminent. It's going to happen. So I do think Zion will be like a top player in the league sooner rather than later. But this season has just been hard because so many players have been really, really good. And we'll get to those players. Who else is worth mentioning? Banchero, Lillard, Siakam, Sengun, Maxey, Jamal Murray, Kristaps, Rudy Gobert, Harden. All these players have been so good. It's just the NBA is so stacked that so many of these players who have been amazing this year are not going to make the team. I think Rudy Gobert honestly could end up making a team just because of his defensive impact. The Timberwolves are the first defensive team, the best defensive team in the league. And it's because he's able to elevate everyone else on his team defensively. Even Conley, like, he helps everyone just like pay attention to defense and be better defensively. So we're going to start off with our first team All-NBA. And this player, I think, has been the best player in the regular season so far, or all season. And he's not even the front runner for MVP right now for most people. First up for the first team All-NBA is Luka Doncic. And I think he's been the best player in the NBA this season. He's not the front runner for MVP. I think he really should be.
So Luka's averaging 34, 9.9, and 9.8, and 1.5 steals. 48.6 field goal percentage, which isn't bad. And 38.2 3-point percentage, and he shoots 57% on non-threes, and he has a 62% true shooting percentage.
Luka is the most efficient high-volume scorer in the league. Like, the fact that his efficiency is so good despite taking all those difficult shots that he takes every game is so impressive.
Yeah, and everyone needs to stop with that. Luka, he's a ball hog, he doesn't help his teammates, he only cares about his own stats, stat pattern, this, that. It's just like, it's getting old. Like, you can't say that anymore. The Mavs are the 5th seed. If they were in the East, they would have been the 2nd seed. They have a good record. They're 47-30. They would literally be the 2nd seed in the East, and he'd have a lot more traction as the MVP because the voters care so much about records and stuff like that. But if he claimed the 2nd seed, he'd easily be the front runner in the NBA right now for the MVP award, which sucks. Like, he's so talented. Like, everyone knows he's talented. That's like goes without saying, but he's such a magician when it comes to offense, because he can do so much on the offensive side, like scoring, for example, averaging 34 points per game while also averaging 9 assists. Like, all the points that he generates all by himself is just amazing. And also, like Matt said, people like to put like a negative connotation around Luka Doncic and how he's a bad teammate, how all these players, as soon as they leave Luka, they get a lot better, like Jalen Brunson and all that. But people don't realize that Kyrie Irving is literally having a great season. He's averaging like 25 points per game, and like
6 assists per game, and he could have made an All-NBA team if he never got injured a lot this season and played enough games, Kyrie, which is really good. He makes Daniel Gafford a lot better, PJ Washington, as soon as they come on. And the fact that the Mavs have been able to have such a good record, despite having like a lot of injuries and roster reconstruction because of the trades that they made, and he's still been able to make them stay afloat and win so many games. The way people talk about Luka is like they're not even in playoffs.
Literally. And I remember when Luka was putting up great stats like he always does, and the Mavs went on like a little bit of a losing streak, but like they lost a lot of games. They were calling him despite the lost man or something like that. Which was, even though they're the 5th seed and like we just said,
they could win 50 games this season.
I just don't
like, come on.
I just don't understand how Luka is not the first in the MVP race. I just
he's honestly, I really do think that if he's not going to win MVP, and it's a robbery, like it really is. We've never seen anyone average these kinds of stats that I can think of, despite maybe like James Harden, but James Harden also didn't win MVP that year, which is crazy. Like, people don't really appreciate these offensive machines in the NBA. And like I mentioned in the past episode, there should be an Offensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, that would have been Luka's.
Easily would have been Luka's for like the past like 3 years now. Like, Luka is the best offensive player in the league. No matter how you slice it, no one is better at offense than Luka. And it's actually kind of impressive that he's averaging 1.5 steals per game. Like, a lot of people will say Luka is a terrible defender, but like, he will put effort in. And he's not like the worst defender in the league. And it's crazy because obviously someone who exerts that much offensively is not going to be amazing defensively. Like, no one's doing what Luka is doing offensively. So obviously you can praise other people for playing defense, but what are they doing offensively that compares to Luka, you know? Probably nothing. Next up, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's probably second on most people's MVP ladder right now. Even though, in my opinion, I think he's third. But that doesn't take away the amazing season he's had this year. And he deserves all the praise he's getting.
Yeah, Shai is averaging 30.3 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 54% field goal percentage, and 64% true shooting percentage.
The fact that he's doing so much offensively and also being all over the place defensively is very impressive. Like, he's leading the league in steals and deflections. He's all over the place defensively. And scoring-wise, he's just so amazing scoring-wise as well.
Yeah, Shai is just electric. He can get to the rim whenever he wants. His rim pressure is off the charts for a guard.
He's actually the best at getting to the rim, and his efficiency around the rim is better than any non-big in the league.
Crazy. I think that's also very interesting, considering, like we just said, he also puts it in on the defensive end, and he still will get to the rim too. Like, how does this man not get tired ever?
He really does not get tired. Like, he has the best motor in the league. When you watch him play, he never takes any plays off. He's all over the place everywhere. And he's so efficient. Like, the high volume that he has while also being really efficient. He doesn't really attempt many threes a game. He attempts like 3, I think, makes 1, which is also impressive. But his 2-point field goal percentage is so high because he just barely misses shots. And he's so good at drawing contact and drawing fouls and getting to the line as well, which a lot of people think is a fault when it's really not. That leads to more points on the board, which should be looked at in a good way.
Yeah, especially he's so young, bringing his young team so, like, winning so many games and all that. It's just,
they're young but talented, but still, like, no one expected the Thunder to be this good this year
and to win.
I know I didn't.
They didn't even make the playoffs last year, and they're like, what, second seed now? So,
yeah, and they've been first for a good portion of the year. Like, it just keeps flopping between the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Nuggets. Like, we still don't know who's going to end up as that first seed. Like, it's been so close this year. But one thing is, he's leading his team to one of the best records in the league. And his prime is just starting. Like, just imagine how much better he'll be in like 2 years, 3 years from now. He will win MVP eventually. He really will. Next up on our first team All-NBA is Nikola Jokic. And this one is just obvious. Like, nothing has been more obvious in the world.
Yeah, he's averaging 26.4 points per game, 12.4 rebounds, 9 assists, and 65% true shooting percentage.
Yeah, and he's the front runner for his third MVP award, which is amazing. Like, legends be winning 3+ MVP awards. And even Steph Curry has not even won 2 MVP awards, Kevin Durant. And he's about to win his third straight, which is like, he's in the same tier, like not tier, but he's in the same conversation as so many other bigs. Like, not many have won 3 MVP awards.
Yeah, he's just obviously legendary. It's like, we're not even surprised by seeing these types of numbers from Jokic anymore. It's literally insane because he's arguably one of the best like offensive centers of all time already.
He's the best offensive center that's ever played in the NBA. He is.
Yeah, and
no matter what anyone says, he really is.
Yeah, and every single season he just does what he did last season, and then they win games. What's the word where you help your teammates?
Elevates them?
Elevates them, obviously. And yeah, he's just still the best player in the world, so...
Yeah, and the way Jokic can dictate how any game goes, or just the amount of control he has on any game is more than anyone. Which is why everyone thinks he's the best player in the league. And no one has the same level of control in any game than he does. Like, the Nuggets can be down 90% of the game, and they'll end up winning because Jokic said, okay guys, come on, start making your shots, do this and do that. That's how good Jokic is. And even though his stats are still really good, it's like the norm for him, like his normal stats. But the reason why he's the front runner is because everyone knows he's the best player in the league. The Nuggets, he's leading them to the best record. Like, it's just a given at this point. Our fourth player on NBA first team is Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is also another obvious one because he's been putting up MVP level numbers as well.
Yeah, he's averaging 30.7 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and 65% true shooting percentage.
That's just another day for Giannis. He does this every night.
Yeah, he does it with his eyes closed. He is elite, the most elite person on both sides of the floor. And yeah, it's like given. It's Giannis every season.
Exactly. The thing is, Giannis consistently puts up MVP level numbers every season and leads the Bucks to top 2 seed every season. But no one bats an eye. Like, he is not, despite what he does, people will still not even put him top 3 for MVP. Like, last year he literally could have won it. The Bucks had the best record in the NBA by far. Like, didn't they win 60 games? Even though they end up losing the first round, that's like irrelevant. Like, I know some of you will bring that up, but that's irrelevant. He didn't even win MVP last year, despite what he did. Every single year since he won his second MVP award, people will just brush him off, and they will never give him another MVP award. No matter what he does, he'll never get another one.
Which is absurd because of Jokic, who isn't even averaging as good numbers as Giannis, which they're both kind of similar. He's just going to be first on the MVP race all the time. What about Giannis? I don't know. It's tough to compare, but they're both like on the same level.
Yeah, honestly, it is kind of weird how people put Jokic on such a pedestal, and Giannis has also won a championship. He's won MVP awards. He consistently leads his team to the playoffs every year, and people will always prop Jokic up a lot more, even though Giannis has literally done more than Jokic has. Like, this man is a 2-time MVP winner, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year winner, has won a championship, he has one of the best final performances of all time. Like, Giannis was electric, despite being injured in the 2021 finals. He was amazing. But people forget about that. People don't really care about Giannis because I guess his playstyle isn't really attractive because people call him run and dunk man. They put negative connotations on his game. But he is the second best player in the league. Even though a lot of people do think Jokic is the best, Giannis is right there with him.
Yeah, so that's why even with all that, you can't deny Giannis to be first team. Every single year he's going to be first team, no matter what,
I guess people are just not surprised by his play style and his stats, which is why he doesn't get much traction to an MVP every year, because people are just normal. His stats are normalized. His dominance is normalized, which is why people just don't care about Giannis anymore and what he brings to the table. Honestly, I think if he can take the Bucks far this year, people will finally get back on the Giannis train. But I think he does have MVPs left in the tank, and maybe he can end up winning again. But the voter fatigue thing is real. It really is. Not when it comes to Jokic, though. But it's real when it comes to Giannis, LeBron. Because everyone knows LeBron should have won more. That's another conversation. But to round out our first team All-NBA, remember it's positionless. And our third guard on this team is Jalen Brunson. And the reason we have Jalen Brunson, we'll explain right now.
Yes, so Jalen Brunson is averaging 28 points per game, 6.7 assists, and he has a 59% true shooting percentage.
Jalen Brunson is 5th in the league in scoring. He's incredibly efficient as well. His passing got a lot better this season. He's averaging nearly 7 assists per game. And he's just so skilled. Like, he's incredibly skilled at getting to the rim and scoring despite being undersized. He is a smaller guard, and the things that he's been able to do despite being small is insane.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected Jalen Brunson to be this good, to be one of the best guards in the league, because his size, like you said, he didn't look this good when he was playing with Luka, but that's something else, not Luka's fault, still.
Yeah, and Jalen Brunson has been the Knicks' offensive engine and has been running and consistent all season. And that's rare because he's been having to carry because of all the injuries the Knicks have had. And the Knicks have still been able to win a lot of games despite all the injuries. And he has played almost every game and he has played almost every minute of every game, which is crazy.
Yeah, his usage, obviously, Tom Thibodeau, he plays people to the breaking point, but it doesn't even.
But it has not broke Jalen Brunson.
Yeah,
he's just such a smart player, and every shot he takes is just smart, calculated. He rarely makes a bad play. And that's why most players, even everyone knows that he's one of the best players in the NBA. Because the way he just plays basketball is so smart, efficient, winning. It translates to winning. Like, that's how good he is. And his stats back it up. He's 5th in the league in scoring. One of the most efficient scorers in the NBA based on volume. And his playmaking has been amazing. He's not even a slouch defensively either. He can play defense as well. He's just amazing as a player. And there has not been 5 players better than him. There's only been 4 players better than Jalen Brunson in the league.
Okay, and by the way, this is mostly Hana's list. I don't agree with Jalen Brunson being first team. I think
you should be.
No, I think
you should agree.
Like Kevin Durant or Jason Tatum have been better than.
They have not been better than Jalen Brunson.
That's my opinion, but it's fair. Like,
only one who has an argument.
I just really don't think Jalen Brunson would make first team this year. I just really don't.
The thing is, he probably won't make it because voters still somehow think this is position-wise, but it's not. It's positionless. Jason Tatum especially has not been close to Jalen Brunson this season. Jalen Brunson has been way more consistent, way more efficient, scoring better, passing better playmaking. Only edge you can give to Jason Tatum is defense, which is honestly a given. Like, look at his body, look at his athleticism. He should be a good defender. But yeah, Jalen Brunson has been an overall better player. He's been able to take over more games and lead the Knicks better. And obviously the Celtics have a better record, and that's obvious because they have an overall better team. The Knicks have had so many injuries this season, and Jalen Brunson has still been able to make them stay afloat. Are you yawning?
Sorry, I'm so done with Jalen Brunson talk.
Yeah, honestly, if they switch positions, Jason Tatum would not be able to lead the Knicks team with all these injuries so far and put up these amazing stats. And Jason Tatum's efficiency is also not nearly as good. To start off our second team All-NBA, we have Kevin Durant. Mev thinks Kevin Durant should be first team, but I disagree.
Yeah, he's averaging 27.4 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 5.2 assists, 53% field goal percentage, 42% three-point percentage, and 63% true shooting percentage.
We all know Kevin Durant is honestly probably the most efficient person in the NBA. He will never take a bad shot.
Yeah, and it's literally like, even with his age and him still being able to put these crazy numbers up and help the Sun win so many games, like, for a lot of the time, the big three wasn't even playing, it was just him, and he was playing great all season, basically, with the exception of, like, a slump or two, but still, he puts up these crazy stats year by year, and I think he deserves first team.
Yeah, and ever since his injury, Kevin Durant has honestly relied more on his perimeter shooting, mid-range, and and not getting to the rim as much as he used to ever since that injury. And he's still been able to average so many points and be so efficient, despite not even taking the easiest shot in basketball, which is around the rim, getting to the rim. And he's just so versatile, and teams cannot guard him. And he's 35 years old. Like, he's getting older, and it's not really showing as much.
He still does what he has to do on the defensive end. He's not a slouch defensively at all. He's not bad. So, yeah, I think he's having a really good season. Like,
and I think he will 100% make second team All-NBA for sure.
At least.
He will, because his stats say it for themselves, and the eye test as well. Just watch Suns games. He's one of the best players in the NBA till this day, despite all the injuries he's had and his age. Next up on All-NBA second team is Devin Booker.
Yeah, he's having a really good year this year. He's like 2 games off, but he's probably going to play them, so he probably will make the second team. And he's averaging 27.3 points per game, 7 assists, and 61% true shooting percentage. Those are great stats. He's one of the best offensive players in the league, no doubt.
Yeah, Devin Booker has really embraced his role. He really embraced the point guard role ever since CP3 left, and he's been doing it in a really good and different way. Like, he still is his old self with the scoring and the efficient scoring and stuff, but he has been a good point guard this year and getting everyone involved and finding people and passing the ball a lot more, which is honestly probably a better version of this Booker, because he's been able to adapt and play next to 2 other scorers, Beal and Durant, whenever Beal does play. I think, honestly, the Suns are a scary team to play in the playoffs, because they honestly do have a lot of offense and scoring that you have to somehow stop. So the Suns are going to be really fun to watch in the playoffs, and just how Booker became a point guard, even though it's not just him running point a lot of the times, it's also Kevin Durant. Either one, they're both a dynamic duo, and I can't wait to see what they'll do in the playoffs. Next up on second team All-NBA, a lot of people think he should be first team All-NBA, but it's just really hard. Jason Tatum, he's only 19. I'm kidding. Only a few people.
Such a corny joke. Oh my god.
Shut up, Mev.
Anyway, I think it would make sense to have Jason Tatum on the first team. He's leading the best team in the league.
But he's second
the first
team.
Seed. His team has the best record in the whole league, so it would make sense. And he's averaging 27 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 61% true shooting. So he's having a really good year stat-wise too. And his team is the best team in the league, and he's leading them, so I really wouldn't be mad if he made the first team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to lead many great players to the first record in basketball. A lot of people put too much credit in Jason Tatum's hands because of that, because he has a great roster. He really does. He should be able to lead them, because Jason Tatum is one of the most talented players in the league. His size and versatility is just a threat. Like, it's hard to guard someone who is big while also being versatile.
Yeah, he is one of the best two-way players in the league also.
He really is. And I honestly think team records is not enough to put you in first, second, third team All-NBA. Like, that's really a team thing. The thing I look at is how they play game to game. And Jason Tatum is not the most consistent player, which is why I didn't put him top 5. I think he was a lot better last season. And obviously, the acquiring Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, his stats won't be averaging 30 points per game. And his defense is also really good. Like Matt mentioned, he's one of the best two-way players in the league, which is why I like him for second team All-NBA. First team, I really do believe that 5 players I mentioned have had a better season. That doesn't take away from Jason Tatum having a really good season this year. One of his best, not his best. I think his best season was last season. He was in the MVP discussion as well. This year, though, we got to keep an eye on the Celtics in the playoffs. They're a huge threat. The Celtics are everyone's front runner this year for the championship. I honestly think the Nuggets are mine, but the Celtics are a close second. Anything could really happen. And Jason Tatum has really got to play up to that superstar level status that he is right now. He has to translate that into the playoffs, because a lot of the times we'll see Jason Tatum not be consistent in the playoffs. Like, he'll have really good games, but other games he'll stink it up. He has really got to play like the superstar that he is in the playoffs, and the Celtics should be the front runners if he does. Next up on second team All-NBA is a given. He's been so good this season. Everyone knows that he's one of the most explosive players in the NBA. and that's Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, he's averaging 26 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, and 5.1 assists on 57% true shooting. Those are really good stats. Every single year, Anthony Edwards is improving. So
yeah, he took a big jump scoring-wise this season, playmaking-wise. His passing is really good this season. People are not talking about that. You could also classify him as a two-way player because he puts a lot of effort and energy into defense. Like, he can lock down any player he really wants to whenever he wants.
Yeah, so he's leading the offense on the Wolves, and they're playing really good even though Cat has been injured. So that's also
the reason the Wolves have been able to be so good is because Anthony Edwards is leading their offense, Rudy Gobert is leading their defense. Two players so good at their crafts, setting the tone on both ends, is why they're the first seed right now. And they've been able to consistently be the first seed and still winning games despite losing Cat. And Cat is also a really big part of their team. Nasri has been able to step up despite everything. He's honestly the best role player in the league that I can think of right now. And the Wolves have honestly surprised a lot of people. They're having their best season in franchise history. And Anthony Edwards is the poster for the Wolves season this year. He'll always be remembered as the guy. And he could end up being, obviously, he will end up being the best player in Wolves history, or one of them. Obviously, Kevin Garnett will always be the best player, but if Anthony Edwards can lead them to championships in the future, he will dethrone him. And I do think that the Wolves have a really bright future, especially if they keep this team together. And they are one of the few teams that have never won a championship in NBA history. If Anthony Edwards can do that, that'd actually be unreal. Like, if we get to witness a Timberwolves championship one day, it's crazy. It's like witnessing when we witnessed the Raptors win their first a couple years ago. It makes like a sports fan really happy seeing teams that have never won before win. The last spot on LNBA's second team goes to the GOAT, LeBron James.
The fact that he's almost 40 years old and is showing no signs of slowing down is unreal. He's averaging 25 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 8.2 assists, and he's literally 41% from three. Are we dreaming? I don't think I never thought I would see that from LeBron. And 63% true shooting percentage.
Yeah, he's having one of the most efficient seasons of his career at 39 years old. It's just crazy how LeBron is just not getting worse. He's just getting better. As he gets older, he's just getting better, and his game is improving other areas when some other areas are getting worse, but other areas are improving. Like his passing, his efficiency, his three-point shooting just got better as he got older. Even though he's not as athletic as he used to be, but at the same time, he's also still putting up posters regularly.
And he's still one of the most athletic players in the league, even though he isn't as.
Do you know what's crazy, Mev?
As he used to be. What?
It's crazy that we've seen drop-offs from, honestly, James Harden, Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard, most other players who should be better than LeBron right now, but they're not. And we've seen them become worse or just have a drop-off before LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron's prime started a lot earlier than a lot of people, and it's still going on longer. So LeBron is
just really impressive.
I don't think we'll ever see someone like LeBron again. Ever.
And it's crazy because LeBron keeps talking about retirement and stuff like that, even though
he's no damn well he's not retiring. Come on.
He is literally too good to retire. Even in 5 years from now, I think LeBron would still be a top 50 player in the NBA in 5 years from now. I truly believe that. It's like Tom Brady still playing football at 40, 45 years old, and he was still one of the best while he was playing. That's how LeBron is. He won't truly ever be washed or terrible, ever. Because that's the amount of talent that he has and all these GOATs have of their sport. Serena Williams is still amazing. She's at the end of her prime. And I don't even know if she's retired right now. Tom Brady's retired, but when he was playing, he was still one of the best. He won a championship, literally at 40-something years old. I don't remember, with the Buccaneers. LeBron James, if you put a good roster around him, he is winning a championship. He is, despite his old age. Starting off our third team All-NBA is Kawhi Leonard. Some people could argue that he should be second team, but I still think he should 100% make a team no matter what. But in my opinion, he fits in third team just because he's finally had a healthy season. Finally.
Yeah, he's averaging 23.7 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 52.3 field goal percentage, 41.7% from three, and 63% true shooting. So he's averaging all those good numbers and very efficiently too. And yeah, Kawhi...
He's one of the most efficient players in the NBA.
Yeah, and when he came to the Clippers, he gathered more of like an offensive role than he was used to. And yeah, he's amazing on the offensive end.
Yeah, when he has it going, no one can stop him. He's literally a robot. Everyone knows that. He's literally robotic. He's so calculated in his shots. He barely misses. Like Mev said, he's so efficient. And defensively, he can flip the switch whenever he wants. He's not the defender that he was, but he can flip the switch. And he has ginormous hands, bigger than my face. And he is one of the leaders in steals per game. He'll always have active hands and make it hard for other players on both ends. He's just absolutely scary on both ends, especially in the playoffs. I think he's one of the best playoff performers in the league. And the Clippers do really have a shot to finally go far in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, he's such a complete player.
With Kawhi. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a complete player. Watching him is like, wow, he's just so good at everything. And I hope the Clippers can make a far playoff push this year, like you said.
The West is wide open. I truly think that the Clippers have a big chance if Kawhi plays like himself, which he probably will. Paul George steps up. James Harden plays his point guard role. And James Harden is one of the best passers in the league and so good at what he does. And he has adapted to a new role playing with Kawhi and PG. And James Harden has been like an amazing player this season. People have not been talking about him, but James Harden is underrated. And they need to see that kind of Harden in the playoffs as well. Russell Westbrook, he needs to keep providing that energy off the bench and impact off the bench. Norman Powell, Zubac has to step up as well defensively and be there for the lobs and the defense. Overall, the Clippers have a very good team on paper. Overall, they have barely lost games this season. They went through stretches where they barely lost. Like 2 months ago, they were barely losing games. Kawhi has missed games recently, though, so that is something to look out for. I think he honestly should load manage until the playoffs, so he's 100% ready. Next up on third team All-NBA, some people might argue that he should be higher, is Anthony Davis.
Yeah, he's having another good season, averaging 24.7 points per game, 12.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.4 blocks per game.
Yeah, he's been very impactful this season for the Lakers. The Lakers have been winning a lot of games recently, and that's been a big part because of Anthony Davis's defense. He is second on the defensive ladder right now. I think you could argue that he should win the award as well because the amount that he covers defensively, he can defend, literally he could defend anyone from the perimeter to the paint. Especially in the paint, his big body is so hard to be around. Players will not take a shot when they're guarded by Anthony Davis. People get scared to be guarded by Anthony Davis.
Even on the offensive end, the nights where he wants to, he'll turn up and you literally just can't guard him. Especially in the paint, he's much bigger than a lot of people, his wingspan. Also, he just crazy.
Yeah, obviously I feel like Anthony Davis's shooting has gotten worse over the years, but his dominance down low, he can pretty much score over anyone except he can pretty much score over anyone, and he can cover so much ground defensively. And we've seen Anthony Davis literally win games defensively all by himself. He doesn't have the luxury of playing with great defenders, but he could still win games by himself and just literally defend the whole paint by himself, which is so impressive. And it's just a shame that Anthony Davis is probably going to retire without a Defensive Player of the Year, and Marcus Smart has a Defensive Player of the Year. Isn't that crazy? That's why, honestly, awards don't really mean much, because even Tim Duncan has never won a Defensive Player of the Year award. And Anthony Davis is joining Tim Duncan's conversation of being of the best defenders to never win a Defensive Player of the Year, which is sad. Next up on our third team All-NBA is Steph Curry, and that shouldn't be really a surprise, even though the Warriors have not been good this year.
Yeah, he's averaging 26.5 points per game, 5 assists, 61% true shooting.
Steph Curry will always be one of the most efficient players in the league. He just never takes a bad shot, and he's just so efficient and calculated when shooting.
Yeah, and he's always going to have to carry the offensive load, especially with the New Age Warriors that stink. So yeah, and age, like you said, plays a big part. He's 35, and having to carry like a team all by yourself is just like taxing on him, I know.
Yeah, obviously, we all see the Warriors and their team. They're full of young guys, older vets that are not as good as they used to be. And Curry really is carrying a huge load. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, which is great. But Steph Curry is doing a lot. And he's not, like Mev said, age plays a huge part. He can't really carry like he used to, which is why they're the 10th seed right now. But Steph Curry still can win games all by himself, and we've seen that a lot this year, despite not having no help. And that's why I feel like he does deserve to make an All-NBA spot, because he still is one of the best players in the league, and he's doing all that he can. Like, most players cannot do anything with this roster that he has. He's one of few players that can lead this team, and they're still made the playoffs, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. Next up, we got a player that finally reached the 65 game limit, which he was so close to not making it.
Yeah, it's Tyrese Halliburton. He's another player on our All-NBA third team. He's averaging 20 points and 11 assists. And before his injury, he was putting up crazy numbers. Like, he was looking like an NBA legend in the making, especially with how many assists he was having per game. His court vision is insane. He just looks so good.
Yeah, at one point he was averaging 13 assists per game. And literally, his hands were magic. Anytime he passed the ball to someone, they would make the shot. It sucks because the injury did play a huge part in the dip of his stats and efficiency. But we all saw we all know what we were watching earlier on. Like, he looked insane. And 20 and 11 is still All-NBA level numbers, and he still 100% deserves to make a team. Honestly, he could have been first, second team if he never got injured.
Definitely, he was looking so good. Everyone was saying crazy things like, "Oh, Halliburton's the best point guard in the league." This, that.
Yeah, and the Pacers are second in the NBA in offensive rating. He's led them offensively. He's an offensive juggernaut, just growing. That's how good he is. The Pacers were first for a while until he got injured offensively. He'll always raise the offense no matter what team he's on. And the Pacers, you couldn't even look at them and say, "Oh, they're not even that good. How are they the second offense? How are they the second best offense in the NBA?" And Tyrese Halliburton is the answer. That is why they're the second best offense in the NBA. Last spot of our All-NBA third team goes to a very special player that is doing special things this season, and that's Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like Domantas Sabonis. They don't move. He doesn't move them. But you can't deny that this guy is an extra talented NBA player. He's averaging 19.5 points per game, 13.8 rebounds, 8.3 assists.
A lot of people don't know that he just set a record for most double-doubles in a season, previously set by Hakeem Olajuwon, who was literally an NBA legend. And he has 73 double-doubles this season. So basically, every game he's played, he's had a double-double. That is, like, unknown territory. Like, that has not happened before. And he's in his own land now when it comes to double-doubles. Like, he can have a double-double in his sleep. And not even that, he's first in the NBA in rebounds and fifth in assists as a center. Just the way he impacts a game offensively is not Jokic level, but he is that next best big when it comes to that.
Yeah, he does everything but basically be good at scoring. Like, that's it.
And he still can hold his own offensively too. Like, he puts up 20 points per game. But the thing is, he does not shoot the ball. Which people can say hurts the Kings at times. But the fact that he also helps space the floor despite not shooting is rare. Because the Kings still look really good shooting wise. And he doesn't even have to shoot because he has so many other 3-point threats around him. And he helps them a lot more than they know. Because of his rim pressure, all these 3-point shooters are able to free flow. And he's just so valuable when it comes to that. Even though defensively, he's not the best. Offensively, he'll always put the team over the top with his scoring himself, his passing, his playmaking, his offensive rebounding, his rebounding. Best rebounder in the league for a couple years now. And he was not an all-star this year. People forget that he was literally snubbed. I'm gonna say name, Paul George. I'm sorry, but you stole an all-star spot from Domantas Sabonis. Should not have been an all-star. I got cooked, but I'm right. Domantas Sabonis was snubbed from the all-star. Yeah, people just don't like the Kings. I also think De'Aaron Fox could have made it as well. Let's see what they end up. They could end up missing the playoffs though. People factor in that a lot when it comes to All-NBA teams and individual awards. That's a team thing. If you look at individual awards, he literally made history. Someone other than LeBron is finally making history. And that's Domantas Sabonis this season. Well, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what your first, second, and third All-NBA teams should be. Comment down below if we snubbed anyone or if we put someone in the wrong team. I want to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching and subscribe to our channels at Splash Sisters P.
Thank y'all.